Welcome to Stub Stories. I'm Sylvia, and I'm the friend who gets you into shows, but yet you don't know what I do for a living.
And I'm Ricky. I'm the friend that's usually bugging you to join me at shows, probably for a band you've never heard of. This week, we are going to talk about the legendary Skatefest.
Yes, and we're going to have beef about this because we both like two different years and think that that's the best year. So we might have a throwdown, and this might be the highest rated episode to date, but we've only had four episodes. So
Okay.
that's not really a big
Imagine
beef.
if it got imagine if it got so heated
Yeah.
that this was the final episode.
Yeah, that would be great. And then it'd be like Skate Fest. There should be more, but
There
there'll
should
never be.
definitely be more. There
Yeah.
should definitely be
So
more.
yeah, so Skate Fest. There were seven of them,
There were
but
seven?
there were seven of them.
Wow.
See, you didn't even know. You didn't do your
I did
homework,
not know
kid.
there were seven.
Didn't do it, kid. But there were
Wow.
seven of them, but the best one is 2002.
I mean, it was
What says
2003,
you?
but it's fine.
Yeah, that's what you think. Yeah.
2001 was awesome. It was or 2002 was awesome. I just didn't go to it. So in my mind,
It was not
2003 was
awesome
the best.
because it wasn't awesome because you weren't there. So got it. That's how I
Exactly.
think about things. But I mean, 2002 had 3 days, 32 bands, one
Wow.
of which was My Chemical Romance that we paid $100 to, and they played the second upstairs stage. So not
Oh,
even prime time in the afternoon. So to me, seeing them for the first time there and what they got to be after that, yeah, that's what made it memorable. So yeah,
yeah, they
but why 2003 for you?
well for
Besides you being
me,
there.
yeah, for me, like I mean, I was there. But also, I mean, My Chemical Romance did play 2003 as well. And they played
Yes.
pretty early in the day, but I think it was they were on the main stage at that point.
Hmm.
Um, but I think like we were talking in our last episode, Drive Through Records played a huge part in the 2003 lineup. Um, like mostly because that first day, it was only 2 days. It wasn't the three.
Because
Which
it
is
wasn't as
probably
awesome. Hello.
hey, it was still pretty awesome. Like they
It
had like
was.
the first day the Drive Through Records Invasion tour
Hmm.
was they were all like the headliners of that first day.
Hmm.
So for me that was amazing because it was like the starting line, homegrown, Allister, the early November, and Census Fail were all
Hmm.
part of that the Invasion tour.
Hmm.
And it was kind of cool because like I wasn't the biggest early November fan, but it was fun to get to see them. I liked a couple songs. Allister I loved and had seen a million times. But for me it was all about the starting line and homegrown.
Hmm.
I love the starting line. Like to this day, I still think they've put out probably three of my favorite records of all time. Um, but like Bayside played that Friday show too, and they played pretty early also in the day. I don't remember if they were upstairs or downstairs. I think they were downstairs, but it was really early in Bayside's career. So it's kind of cool to get to see them on Friday and then My Chemical Romance on Saturday. But then those are two bands that I've continued to see for 20, literally for 20 years. I
Hmm.
saw both of those bands last year, which is ridiculous.
Yeah. But I mean, again, let's go to just the Friday lineup of 2002. Now, Thursday, the Lawrence Arms, International Noise Conspiracy, Snapcase, Die Halud, Common Rider, and Coheed.
Mm,
That was a Plea for Peace tour, I think.
I think you're
That
right.
they So, and then on Saturday, Big D and the Kids Table,
My band.
Lost City Angels. How many shows have you seen with them? Uh,
I mean, a lot, including 2003.
oh, okay. Well, Mess was signed to Maverick Records,
I
which
remember
I
Mast.
thought was like nuts because that was Madonna's label. And I was like, what? What is
Wait,
this thing
really?
doing? Yeah, Maverick was Madonna's label.
That's
So I was
cool.
interested in them just because there was the Madonna connection. But I mean, I can't believe that one of your favorites also played Saturday, Midtown.
The town. They just played last night in New Jersey, and I didn't get to go because,
Well, that's because we're old now.
yeah. I did see them last year at the Palladium, though. It's
Yeah.
great.
Oh, remember Fake ID?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, that was another band. Yeah, so they were there. Hot Rod Circuit, Kicked in the Head, Phantom Planet, Recover,
Phantom Planet.
Brand New.
Oh, I forgot Brand New played. Yeah,
Yeah,
okay. You might be
so that's it.
right.
Yeah, but that's not even. That's just Saturday, and then
Oh,
we close off Sunday. Andrew WK, like
legend.
Cancer Conspiracy, Hope Conspiracy. There's all these conspiracies. Like I
So much
remember those.
conspiracy.
I used to always like confuse them. And of course, Mike Chem,
Hmm.
On Broken Wings, Reach the Sky, Scissor Fight, Senses Fail,
Wow.
From Autumn to Ashes. I mean, Glassjaw,
Mm.
Case
Oh,
in Pieces, Armor for Sleep, Bleeding Through, Boy Sets Fire. I mean, how can you argue that 2003 great lineup, and then here's the piece de resistance. I'm not French. That makes it better. I'm gonna go get this.
I can't wait to see what you're pulling out.
This is
Oh, yes.
the poster that was created, and I presented by BCN apparently, because I added all these great logos and all these terrible things. But it was also sponsored by Drive Through, Victory, Trust Kill, Triple Crown, Equal Vision, Hopeless Records, like Big Wheel Rack. Oh my God. Like this is all like
Wow.
Ferret Doghouse Records, Eyeball Records, like Triple Crown Records. Like
Nice.
this is the shiznit right here, Skatefest. So
You might be
yeah,
right. Like that, I mean, that's a pretty epic
you
lineup.
can't, yeah. And I guess in doing this episode is we oh my God, small brown bike was on it. I didn't even see
Loves from
that.
Abba. Yeah. What a great
Oh
band.
my God. Yeah. And then you look at My Chemical Romance, so tiny at the bottom here, and Thursdays up here. And you're like, oh my gosh. But anyway, I think in doing this episode, I think we're pleading with people to bring this back and do a skate fest again
I
in
mean,
Worcester.
it makes so much sense because, I mean, like, this was basically the Warp Tour. Like,
Yep.
all of these bands were on the Warp Tour
Hmm.
probably that year.
Yep.
Um, and now that Warp Tour is not a thing, I mean, there's a lot of these, like, mini festivals that are popping up. Newfound Glory did a festival in Worcester last year for Sticks and Stones for the 20th
Hmm.
anniversary. And it was kind of like this. Like, it had
Yep.
the Movielife and Bayside, and a lot of the bands we just mentioned actually played it. Uh,
Hmm.
but it's cool in a way, especially now that the Palladium has the outdoor
Stage.
stage. You could do a skate fest and have, because a lot of these bands are now not too big to play inside, but if you had two or three of them playing, you can easily sell out outside. Do the skate fest, throw the ramp, get a couple ramps, put them up in the parking lot. Like, it could be so huge. There's
Yeah.
like the Sad Summer Fest, like, you know what I mean? There's
Hmm.
already these festivals, but there is no like skate fest. Like,
Yeah. It's so localized where, like, even the booking agents for some of these bands have gone on to amazing things. I think even the person who came up with the idea to do this, like, I mean, still does does my chem and others. And I'm just looking at this lineup going, this would be a great like reunion, like try to get
oh
as
yeah.
many of these bands and doing this. It is like it's not even a mini Warp Tour. It's the size like these bands are. Like I just noticed Taking Back Sunday is on
Yeah.
Saturday. Like anytime I go look at this again, I'm seeing more that I'm missing. Even the used. Like this is this is the 2000s right here.
Yeah.
All
And they
these
all played
bands,
in Worcester.
and they all played in Worcester, and most of them on little side stages
It's
during the
amazing.
afternoon. It's kind of like doing the metal fest, that was a big thing too. That's
Mm.
thankfully back again. But yeah, like so that I guess this episode is meant to be like, can we please bring this back? And also, Ricky's wrong about
Well,
2000.
hey, we'll get into the 2003 lineup. It's
All
it's
right,
it's
all right,
pretty
convince
epic.
me. Yeah, well,
But
let's.
well, I
Yeah,
mean, so to your point about bringing it
yeah.
back, like, if you look at when we were young fest in
Hmm.
Vegas, that festival is like Skate Fest, but
Hmm.
obviously elevated.
Yeah.
but you could do a much smaller version of that as Skatefest at the Palladium again. And if you
Hmm.
wanted to go bigger, like what if you somehow were able to get a band like a My Chemical Romance to headline it, and you put them inside the DCU Center, and then the Palladium and the DCU Center, because it's all right there. It's all in the same part of the city. What if you turned it into, kind of like those old, remember when BCN used to do like the Christmas rave?
Yeah.
And it was like they took over every venue in the city for like one night or whatever, a
Hmm.
weekend.
Yep.
What if you did that at the Palladium and you had, like New Found Glory and a bunch of other bands played the outside stage at the Palladium? And I know inside it's kind of hard because that's where like a lot of the catering and stuff happens for those outdoor shows. But even if you included upstairs at the Palladium
Hmm.
and like all the local bands played or, up there, DCU, you could have a My Chemical Romance and a Thursday and more of like a bigger show, and you just took over all of downtown Worcester for the whole weekend with
Yep.
this type of lineup. It would be so epic.
Worcester was cool, and this it's still cool, but like music wise, like the Palladium has brought so much to the city, where
Yeah.
it's like, okay, you're people think they're playing Boston, they're not,
Yeah.
and they're like, we're 45 miles away from Boston, what? And it's like it was always like the joke with some of these bands. It would like look at their tour itinerary, and they would be like, oh, we saw that it was major cities, and then boom, Worcester. We knew we were going home to Worcester. So, um, yeah. So I think with these bands, they've all played the Palladium, even without this particular event. A
Yeah.
lot of them got their start there. And that's how, that whole area built up and becoming like the music scene there. Remember the Lucky Dog too? Like
Oh, I remember
I
the Lucky
miss the
Dog
Lucky
very
Dog too.
well.
Yeah. So it's a cool area, and I'm glad that it's still doing its thing. And it'd be great to have Skatefest back, but the 2002 lineup definitely.
I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know. That 2003 lineup. So like, okay, so we touched on the Friday date.
Hmm.
Saturday was probably, I mean, Saturday was definitely the bigger of the 2 days because it obviously started earlier. It was a weekend, but the headliners were Simple Plan, who were massive at the time. Um, so like Simple Plan, Coheed and Cambria, Piebald, the
Mm.
Movielife, rxbandits, and
Oof.
H2O. They were
Oof.
like the
Piebald.
headlining bands,
Yeah.
which to me that was amazing as like
Yep.
this like person who just can't get enough of all of this style of music to be able to see a band like Simple Plan, who I love that first Simple Plan record, but
Hmm.
also, local legends Piebald
Yeah.
and the Movie Life are still one of my favorite bands, but at the time, like they were everything to me. This I think is actually the show that they broke up at, which they talk
Oof.
about. Their lead singer still talks about on podcasts nowadays. But I just remember being there. Sorry, I got blurry. I remember being there, and my whole world crumbled when he ever announced that this was going to be their final show. They've obviously gotten back together. I've seen them all over the place, but like such a pivotal memory for
Hmm.
me.
Yep.
H2O. I'd never seen H2O at that point. I'd gone on to
Hmm.
see them a million times, but like what a legendary New York
Yeah.
hardcore band.
Yeah.
RxBandits, they were the ska band. A Big D and the
Hmm.
Kids Table played that day. Like we were saying, Lost City Angels, Kicked in the Head. A lot further down the lineup, My Chemical Romance,
Hmm.
epic.
Yeah.
And then even further down the line, like literally the last band listed on this bill was Straylightrun, which
Yeah.
was the
Yep.
guitar player and I think the bassist from Taking Back Sunday when they
Yep.
left.
Yep.
So there's a really good chance that the last original lineup Taking Back Sunday show was probably right around Skatefest 2002.
Yep.
And then one of the first Straylightrun shows, at least in Massachusetts, was Skatefest 2003.
Hmm.
So
Yep.
it's kind of crazy that they all kind of like, weave in and out of each other. But I remember, so we went to both days. Friday, after Friday's show ended, that drive-through tour obviously they all left and continued on with their tour like normal. My buddy and I went up, we were hanging out. We like met the starting line guys like outside of the Palladium waiting for their bus. And I remember we talked to, I don't know if it was a photographer or it was part of that tour's crew. And we're like, hey, can we have your pass? And the guy was like, yeah, sure, whatever. Like, I don't care. Like, he obviously doesn't need it. So he like took it off, gave it to us. And it was just one of the sticker passes. It wasn't like a lanyard or anything. My friend went home that night and scanned it into his computer and then printed out a piece of paper that looked exactly like this pass. We then used packaging tape to tape a paper pass to my shorts. So I could we didn't even know what this pass would get us. We were just like, fuck yeah, this is going to be awesome. Let's just do it. We had already bought tickets. So it's not like we were even getting in for free. We just wanted access to whatever we thought we could get.
Mm-hmm.
So we went to the show. I remember at the time, the only thing that we thought we could do was go up in those like VIP booths at the Palladium that are on the side. Because every show we've been to, we could obviously, we could never get up there. So we're like, we're going to do it. We're going to get up in these booths. And we did. But then me being like obsessed with, I wasn't there to like get a VIP spot. I was there to see these bands that I loved. And in my mind, I was like, I might never get to see H2O again. Like, spoiler, I've seen
So
H2O
dramatic.
100
So
times.
dramatic.
So, right. So H2O, I forget which, we did watch one band from the VIP thing, but there was already a bunch of people up there. So we were kind of towards the back. So you don't really get to see that well if you're up there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I'll never forget H2O came out and I was like, I'm going down into the crowd. My friend was like, don't do that. What if you can't get back up here? And I was like, I don't care. I have to be downstairs for H2O. I went down into the pit. And when I came out, my pass was gone because it was a piece of paper that we taped to my shorts. So it fell off somewhere in there. And for a second, we're like, what if we get caught? Again, not really knowing how things worked, but we're like, what if they find this piece of paper that's covered in tape and they know it was us and we get thrown out and we can't be here for Simple Plan? Like, we were so scared that we were going to get in trouble. And then, of course, none of that happened because A, nobody cares. B, you can't even see the floor until long after the show is over. So, you know, thinking about it now is such a ridiculous thing to be worried about. But at the time it was a real fear. But then my friend was like, I'm going up at the VIP. I was like, I don't care. And I just stayed on the floor and had, the best time ever. But yeah, it was funny. I think about that all the time. I'm just like, we were so stupid.
Well, I mean, I I didn't like kids like you.
No, that's fair. Well, so the thing was like it was never my idea,
But you were polite about it.
Yeah, I mean, part of it was like we were just obsessed with these bands,
Yeah.
I think about it now and I'm like, okay, like yes, not the best thing to do. But also, we never went back. We didn't go backstage. We didn't get in anybody's way. We weren't like taking, beer or catering or anything like that. We literally thought that just getting up into that VIP section was the coolest thing you could do. And then we were up there and I was like, this kind of sucks. I'm going back down to where I belong.
Yeah.
And then, karma got me and I lost that pass. But
well, I mean, if you're not in the front of that section, it's hard to see because it's just at a weird angle.
yeah.
But yeah, that's actually not a bad, breaking the law type thing. But
it's like kind of harmless.
Yeah. No, you couldn't do that now because they'd slam you. They'd be like, no, get out of here, kid. What is this piece of paper? But that's very, you gotta give you credit for, doing that and trying it. I mean, it's your favorite band. Like sometimes you forget, right? I know with me, you're so into promoting the show, and getting it out there and great. This is how many tickets are sold. I'm just always in that business mode. But then every once in a while I run into like, fans like you and they're like, they would do anything for these bands. And I'm like, it kind of puts you it reminds you of like, hey, there's actually this is why you're doing this. It's because
Yeah.
they want to be a part of this. They don't want to hurt anybody. They just want to have fun or maybe get access to whatever they think they're going to get it. But yeah, but that's back in the heyday where you could do stuff like that. I mean, now it's stricter with the, the wristbands, and there's like, I remember I went to go see Garbage, and it was just like so many wristbands and passes, and I'm just like, wow, by the time I get there, it's kind of like the old school, like passes, all like wristbands all the way up, like Madonna back in the day. There's so many wristbands by the time you get to meet them. So they try all these different security things, but yeah, but still, I mean, that's a great lineup for 2003. And I'm surprised that you didn't know there were 7 of these,
Yeah,
uh,
I'd only gone to I went to '03, and then
mhm.
did we go? We went to one more, and I honestly don't remember if it was '04 or '05,
Yeah,
because I feel like did they not do it in '04?
they did it in
Or
'04.
they
It
did
was they
did
they did it. It was like the last year that it was bigger,
so maybe that was the
and
one.
I
Did
can't remember
Homegrown play that one too?
I can't
I feel
remember.
like the last one we went to,
Homegrown
Homegrown, I'm
might play
pretty
it.
sure played and was possibly even the headliner, maybe for Saturday. But I remember it not being like,
Oh yeah, they did. Yeah, Saturday.
okay,
Yep. Yeah.
who else played that
Minus
one?
the bear. Oh my God.
That's the
Remember Minus the
Bear.
bear?
Yes, I've seen them a
As
bunch.
tall
They're
as
so
lions,
good.
Bayside, Boys Night Out. Who seems to play that played everything?
Everything. Yeah.
Code 7,
Code
From
7.
Autumn to Ashes, Halifax. Um, yeah, so it was only 2 days, Friday and Saturday. That was Saturday. Um, Friday, Throwdown.
Oh
There's
wow.
always
Oh,
like
so it
a
was like a
throwdown show all
heavier.
the time. Yeah. Scatter the Ashes, Scurvy, the early November, Glass Eater,
Hmm.
Emmanuel, Catch 22, Bury Your Dead. Throw
Catch
that in there.
22. I love Catch 22.
So that was, and then the last one was in 2010, but it was smallish.
Who played
Recovery,
that
the
one?
Receiving End of Sirens. Remember them?
Oh wow. Yeah.
Vanna,
Yeah. Seen Vanna a
Entry on the
million
Coast,
times.
Sea Stars. But yeah, it got smaller. It
Yeah.
was just one day. So, um, yeah. Um, oh, the Red Chord played 2005. So it
Wow.
changed. It wasn't just Skatefest. It was sort of
Yeah, it
like,
started getting a little heavier. Well, I mean, I guess like
yeah,
even like the Warp Tour was kind of like that too.
yeah,
Like you did notice that
hmm,
once like Screamo really hit its peak, then everybody got
yeah,
super heavy. Um,
hmm,
and I think that's kind of when that probably would have been around the time that I started to get away from this
yeah,
style of music in a way. Like,
yeah,
I mean, I still listened to bands like The Starting Line and Blink and like all that stuff,
hmm,
but a lot of them, especially in those years, like Blink had been broken up at that point. So it's like I couldn't go see these bands, and The
hmm,
Starting Line I think had also broken up in somewhere in there, 2006-ish, maybe.
yeah,
It was after their
yeah,
like third record came out, so maybe a little bit later. But I started going to like, I mean, I had to go to Boston if I wanted to see New Found Glory because the Palladium
hmm,
was booking, more of the like hardcore and
hmm.
kind of like metal type shows. Um, so I was going to Boston a lot more, and then I also like got into country music for a
Ah, didn't see
while.
that coming.
I mean, yeah, it was weird. It was a weird time. I was just like kind of sick of everything else.
Yeah,
And like I said, a lot of the bands I liked, like the Movielife was broken up. So like the bands I would
yeah,
go see weren't doing anything.
yeah.
So I,
It was also around the time when, like the bigger promoters had they were buying tours, so they would
yeah,
route them into their venues. So that's why you were going to Boston a lot. They had
yeah,
figured that out, that hey, we'll just buy the whole tour and we're going to program it like this. So there was like the theater tours. Theater, it's like large clubs.
yeah,
So that's what was happening. And but it was cool that some of these bands remained loyal to the indies where they would play a show, but then somehow there'd be we would the smaller indie promoter would be affiliated in some marketing way just to include us. And I always thought like one of those bands was Fall Out Boy. They remain loyal
oh,
forever. And I just so much respect for them. And we didn't even know they were doing this. And I would hear, oh, you're written into this line item or whatever, just because we had given them their first shot, when, these bigger companies weren't booking that. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of like, how you would hope it would go, right? Like
Yep.
kind of like our episode where we were talking about Newfound Glory and they were signed by DriveThru and then they were upstreamed to MCA, but that DriveThru logo was like still on the back of the CDs and
Hmm.
like they would still talk about it and they would still take out those bands if they
Hmm.
had a choice um on a lot of those tours. And it's really cool to see that type of stuff happen. And like Fall Out Boy now, uh their tour last or this year was so interesting to me. Like I didn't end up getting to go, but they did stadiums, they did
Hmm.
Fenway and stuff. But and they'd have like the whole tour was like them and Bring Me the Horizon were the openers, but then they had this rotating slot for the other two bands. And some of those slots, like in LA, they had Newfound Glory play with them,
Hmm.
which is so cool because like Newfound brought them out on some tours early in their career. In Worcester or in Boston, they had Four Year Strong, and like them and Four
Hmm.
Year would play a lot when they were younger. And it's cool to kind of like, Fall Out Boy is obviously, I mean, they're the ones that are headlining Fenway, but they're giving those bands that gave them a shot a chance to play these spaces that they probably wouldn't get to play. Like
Yeah.
Newfound Glory is not going to headline a stadium nowadays. So it's
Yeah.
kind of cool. And then you look back on these types of lineups and you're like, wow, like even like you were saying earlier, My Chemical Romance played so early in 2002, and that year Thursday was a headliner. But if you
Hmm.
look when My Chem played Boston last year, Thursday was the direct support. Like they had
Yeah.
Thursday opening an arena show.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yep.
Love seeing stuff like that.
Yeah. The other thing too is around this time, a lot of photographers had started reaching out to me going, hey, we want to take photos at your shows. I was like, wow, is this the thing? I'm like, okay, cool. All right. Sure. Come shoot at the shows. So people like Jeremy Saffer, who now has written 3 books, and he's one of the
Wow.
premier photographers. One of his first photography book, he dedicated to me and Scott Lee, and I was just like, this is the nicest thing anybody's ever done for me in this industry,
That's
but
so cool.
because we gave him a shot, and he was terrible early on. It was just him with his little tiny camera that was with flash. And from now, and like looking at him now, I'm like, you are, it's such an amazing thing to watch you grow your career. And the same thing, there was Aaron Papalis, the Rev from Return to the Pit. Like
Oh
you,
yeah, yeah.
and it's still a great archive. If you go to returntothepit.com, there's
Yep.
photos there of these skate fests. And I'm so thankful for him and for Jeremy and for Karina Mastrocola, who also Defy Unlearn, that used to come out and shoot, and Karen Jerzik. Like these were our photographers, like that they kind of grew up with me, and now they are very well known in what they do. And like I love looking at Aaron's, especially his page, because he has all these old archives, and I go through it. Like last night, I was looking at it and go, man, he has pictures of Mike Hem on that second stage. I
That's so
mean,
cool.
I like we should put some of these up. I'm gonna reach out to him. Maybe he should be on the podcast at some point, because he's the
That'd be
archive
awesome.
guy. And he can talk about some of these shows that he still goes to. Um, so it's great to see, all our careers kind of just keep on going and grow along with these bands. But yeah, it was funny looking at, Gerard's like photo, and I'm like, what is going on with these photos? Like just to see it, because what they are now, and you're looking back
Yeah.
going, oh my God, you were a child. Who is this child on the stage? This is amazing. So,
Yeah.
so I'm thankful for the photographers to document this, because again, there was none of this cell phone, iPhone stuff back in the day, and it was just, it's great to have this now.
Yeah. Like, so, okay. This one, Skatefest is cool because it also kind of ties back into like our history together with like the street
Hmm.
team and stuff
Yep.
because it's currently taped into my book with all my tickets, but I took a photo of it so I could see the lineup, but I still have like the
Oh
actual
yeah.
handbill
Hmm.
from the Skatefest lineup, but I'll
Yep.
never forget. I also have this one was interesting because you guys there was like a pre like before the full lineup was announced, there was a handbill that only had homegrown, the starting line, and I think simple plan on it.
Hmm.
So I remember like you sent that one first, and then maybe like 2 months later we got the one with
Yeah.
the whole lineup on it. But I'll never forget my computer was broken. Like our family computer was broken, probably because I was downloading like LimeWire or Napster
Yeah.
or something and ruined everything.
Yeah.
But to find out the full lineup, I had to ride my bike to the library in the town I grew up in and go to their computer. And everybody else, I'm sure, was using those computers to like probably do homework or learn about something useful. And I was like, I gotta know what tour I got announced today. Like I would go, you'd sign in, you'd get like an hour or whatever, and I would
Yeah.
spend that entire hour looking at tours, even
Hmm.
for things that there's no way I could go to. But I'll never forget logging in and going and seeing the Palladium and seeing what shows were announced and seeing that full lineup drop, and I was like, this is gonna be the best weekend of my life. And then literally like 2 days later, I think I in the mail I got the box of flyers from you, and I was like,
Yeah.
yes, this is sick. And three of them still exist.
No, I don't think I even have the one you just showed me anymore. I just have the original, the 2002. But yeah, like I love looking at all like past art. I just that's what I was saying to my friend the other day. I was just like, I think in doing this podcast is I'm kind of taking a minute and looking back at all the cool things I've been a part of or shows I've attended because of what I did or still do. So yeah, so this is it's not just for anybody sending us their stories, but it's also for me, for you. It's like it's yeah, I'm really excited about this. And again, if this episode is anything, it's like bring back Skatefest. I will come out of
Yes.
retirement. I'll come out. I will work that event. I'm down to making that happen again because I it was such a special event. So
It
I'm
was so
down.
much fun.
And will you be street team again? Like we'll just go back
Oh,
and be like,
absolutely. Absolutely. I'll still, I'll tape a pass to my leg and, probably lose it.
yeah.
No
You know
big
what's
deal.
funny is one of my other street teamers is now one of the bookers for Live Nation in Boston, Alex Rossiter.
Wow.
And I didn't know that. And he goes, and he's doing his thing and he's like, wait a minute, I know you. You're a mass media girl. And it was the coolest thing. I'm like, here's this guy. And he's just like, man, you gave me a shot on street team. And that was pretty cool. And then I've also found old emails from him. So
That's
I'm like,
awesome.
that's cool. That's cool that everybody's doing okay. And I wasn't mean. That's a good thing
No,
to know.
no, you were great. It's cool talking about, like this show really was like so pivotal for me. Like you were saying, first festival. Like this is 2003. My first Warp Tour was 2004. So like this really was the first like festival I ever attended. Um, and it's cool like, having those stories about like the fake pass and like kind of also in a weird way watching how these things come together where it's like, oh, the Drive Through Records Invasion tour, but then this festival's happening, so they like combined it all and there was like a festival
Yeah.
basically that was booked below this national tour,
Yeah.
paying attention to kind of these bands throughout my life and then now throughout my career, and I'm like, oh, I've worked with most of the bands on this list, and some of them I've gone on to become friendly with these people, like even outside of music. And it's just
Mhm.
cool thinking about like, whatever 16, however old I was in 2003, 16-year-old me or whatever, 15-year-old me, who literally just wanted to use this paper pass to like get as close to these bands as humanly possible. And then now I'm like, oh, I've had dinner with most of these people. Like
Yeah.
20 years
Yeah.
later, and I've gone on to see these bands, some of them in different parts of the country, but like, or different states. Like, it's just, I don't know. It's fun to kind of like to go back and look at this type of stuff.
Yeah. I'm glad I was doing this at the time because I don't think the things I did back then I could do now. Just with, again, with Facebook and social media, all these things.
Yeah.
I think it was a different vibe. And we were using fax machines. Like it was so grassroots, and you were find out it's word of mouth advertising. Basically, that's what we were doing and hoping it would work. And I still remember one of my friends invited me to Facebook. That was Scott from, who I worked with. And he's like, join Facebook. I'm like, I don't need another thing. I don't even know what
Yeah.
that is. I'm on MySpace. I'm gonna stick there forever. But then using that as a tool to promote the things that you're doing. And yeah, it's just been a wild ride, and I'm glad I'm still involved in some of these bands and some not. But like it was great growing up with them. That's all I'll take from it.
Yeah. It's so cool.
Yeah.
Oh, we
What
need
do
to
we
bring
think
it
of this for
back.
an episode?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is it. We're starting it today.
All
We need
right.
Skatefest back. It
Yeah.
needs to
So
come
we're
back.
we're gonna sign. We're gonna have a petition on our website, stubstories.net. Bring back Skatefest.
We'll do a
Let's
live
make it happen.
episode. If we can
Yeah.
find a way to bring back Skatefest, we should do a live episode there.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll do it for free. We don't have to pay us
Yeah,
much
you
to
don't
do
have to
it.
pay us.
You don't pay us. I see
Exactly.
one of our producers looking at us like, what are you doing? I'm like, hey, we do it for the love of the music. Well, some things. And Skatefest is one, like for sure. That was a special time. And I definitely, let's, if we can bring that idea to somebody to then do it, or, have us help in some way. I'm totally down for doing that. So that's the episode, kids. That's it. Bring back Skatefest.
Yeah,
Thanks.
let us know. Hey, if any of you guys were there or you know
Yeah.
played a skate fest, reach out. It'd
Yeah.
be really cool to hear your stories,
Yeah.
from a different point of view. We've got the
Yeah. Did
promoter,
you?
we've got the fan who played it.
Yeah. Did you try to sneak in? Did I yell at you? Did you try to get on the guest list? Please let us know. I would love that. Like one of my now business partners too. Like he says I yelled at him and that's how we became friends. And I didn't remember that. So
Wait,
let
really?
me know. Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Cody from Soundring says he was trying to get into something with a guest list. And I told him, get out of here. Get out of here, kid. And he's now one of my best friends.
That's
So
so funny.
and he still remembers it years later. And apparently I don't remember it. So I'm an awful person. So
Okay, that happens.
but
All right.
anyway,
Well,
so
thanks for tuning in to another episode. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, give us a
yeah.
follow on any of the social channels. We're at Stub Stories, and then on TikTok, we're at Stub Stories Pod.
Yeah, please join us and thanks. Yeah, if it sucks, cool. We tried. See ya. See you next time.
We should end every episode on if it sucks, cool, we tried. Like, don't even say bye
Yes.
anymore. That should just be how we end every episode. Like,
Yes,
hey,
yes,
if it
yes.
sucks, cool, we tried.
Yeah, that's it. I think we found it. Yeah,
Hell yeah.
that's cool. We tried.
I'm writing it down so I don't forget that.
Yeah.
Good job, guys.
If you guys have any stubs that you want to see, just shoot us a DM with the stubs. We love seeing your stories too,
Yeah, and check out our website, stubstories.net, and on Insta, StubStories, because that's where it all started.
Yeah, we'll be on we're on other platforms too, but so watch for more content to start popping up on those as well. Now that we're live in the game.
Official. Thanks.
Yeah. Follow our YouTube too.